It's that he can't bless us, because to bless us, absent us blessing Israel, is to go against his word. And God cannot go against his word. Now, as far as connecting the prophetic dots, there is an explanation for this. Now, please, I'm not excusing this. I'm simply explaining this and perhaps giving the why behind the what we see happening with this current administration and the support of Israel. See, the U.S. isn't even a player in the end-time prophetic program. I don't have chapter and verse to quote you, because there's no chapter and verse that specifically speaks of the United States of America anywhere in the entirety of the pages of Holy Writ. Now, some Bible teachers suggest that the United States of America is actually mentioned collectively when the Bible talks in the context of prophecy about all the nations of the earth. And I want to talk about that in just a moment, so please put that in your hip pocket. So the first dot that I want to connect as to the why behind the what, explaining, not excusing what we're doing as a country in turning our backs on Israel, is that the U.S. isn't mentioned. Maybe that's why. It would surely fill in a few blanks, wouldn't it? You don't have to be the sharpest knife in the drawer to figure out that the United States of America is not experiencing a blessing. I would venture to say God has blessed America, but I do not believe that we are currently the recipients of God's blessing on this great nation. Now, let me hasten to say that my parents moved to the U.S. when I was just a toddler. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, to a Palestinian mom and an Egyptian dad, full-on Arab. We come to America. My parents had $20 in their pocket, and they wanted to escape the Islamic oppression that they were experiencing there in Jordan, Egypt, and then Lebanon. Came to this free country, this then Christian country. It's interesting. I was born in 1962. Don't do the math. I'm really quite young, you know. No, I'm not. But that's the same year that we took prayer out of schools. That's the same year, if you look at the charts and the graphs and the statistics, you see the decline of the United States of America, the once greatest nation on earth, go like this to the present. I think it was the beginning of the end. Instead of bringing gum to school, now it was a problem because they might bring a gun to school. When you remove God and you say to God, I don't need you, God can't bless you. God will never force himself on you. And as it goes for a nation, it goes for a person, for an individual. And this is the why behind the what. And it could very well be that the U.S. is not mentioned because God will remove his blessing, his covering, his prospering of this nation. Did you know that we never had a national debt prior to 1962? We actually had a surplus. Now the number is obscene. God has had to, because of his word, remove his blessing because we have removed our blessing on his people, the Jewish people, the nation Israel. Here's the second dot that I want to connect. It seems that if the U.S. is mentioned collectively in all the other nations that are mentioned in Bible prophecy, that we are still against Israel. And it would seem that Israel will stand alone in the last days. And that could be a good thing. Hear me out. See, if Israel cannot look to the United States for support, and they cannot look to any other nation because all the nations of the earth are against her, who's she going to turn to? I mean, listen, I'm slow. I'm not that slow. I am not that slow. They're going to have to turn to their God, and they will. That's what the Bible teaches. They will have to go through the time of Jacob's trouble. By the way, what was Jacob's name changed to from Jacob? Thank you. You're so... you make me proud. When we get there and we're standing there in the presence of the Lord, and I mean, I want people to go, hey, you went to Calvary Chapel Kaneohe, didn't you? Yeah, look at that crown. No, that's pride. Sorry. It's the time of Israel's trouble. And what is the purpose of the 7-year tribulation, a.k.a. the time of Jacob's trouble? The purpose of the tribulation is for the salvation of the Jewish nation. And they're going to... All right, everybody now. No. The Jews are going to find their Messiah in the midst of the 7 times hotter, fiery tribulation, the way that the Hebrew slaves Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego found Jesus in the midst of the 7 times hotter, fiery furnace. That's a picture and typology of the tribulation. The church does not go through the tribulation as pictured by Daniel. Where's Daniel? He's not in the furnace. He's gone. He's removed. Daniel pictures the church. He's not present. He's been removed. Oh, some Bible scholars speculate and pontificate. Well, he was sent out on business. Don't give me that. He's not there. Why is he not there? Because it's a picture of how the church isn't going to be there. Well, why are the 3 Hebrew slaves then thrust into the fiery furnace and not even burned, not even singed? Because that is a picture of how God is going to protect his people, the Jews, in that 7 times hotter fiery furnace. And interesting, in the midst of the furnace, they find Jesus, the 4th, the Son of Man, the Son of God. Right at the middle of the 7-year tribulation, the Jews are going to realize when the Antichrist commits the abomination that causes desolation, it's going to bring them to salvation, and they're going to flee for the last 3.5 years of the 7-year tribulation and be protected by God himself, not the United States of America, not any other nation. They're going to be forced to come to the truth that Jesus is and was their Messiah. I can't wait. We won't be here, but I'm wondering, hey, Lord, can we watch from up there and see? Because this is going to be cool. I can't wait. It probably won't happen. But now, isn't it likely that you have I'll wait. A messenger from Satan sent to... No, it's true. I would never underestimate that. That's like when you go to pray. Doesn't the phone ring? Someone's at the door. I mean, it's always the wrong number. Anyway, I digress. I was actually going to make a very powerful point here, and I'll try to bring it back. God's word tells us that exactly what we're seeing taking place will be exactly that which we now see right before our eyes taking place. And he used the prophet Zechariah to record it. And I want to draw your attention to the 12th chapter of the book of Zechariah, and you're certainly more than welcome to turn there. Verses 1 through 5, we have a most